Then the next thing on my agenda is to show you integration. So as I said, in a production environment, you wouldn't have a sysadmin going in and creating volumes or attaching them to a particular host for you to use them. This is kind of a fully automated process, and it's done through, you would usually have a larger environment where a StorPool fits in. You would have a management system, which we call the cloud management system, which controls not just the storage component of that environment, but it also controls the hypervisors, and it controls the network interconnect between the hypervisors. It controls things like NAT or load balancers or firewalls for connecting these virtual machines to the internet or to each other. One example of such cloud management system is called OpenNebula. And OpenNebula has, I'm showing you here, it has a driver for StorPool, which we implemented and we are maintaining with every new version of the cloud management system. You can get the driver here. We would usually be very involved in helping you install that and making sure it works really well with your environment. And then at the end, with the cloud management system, you get this kind of dashboard where you can look at your data stores, right? So this is a StorPool data store, and sorry, okay. So it's a StorPool data store, and it has this amount of space on it, and this much is actually used at the moment. Right. So the concept is you would control and monitor your storage system through the cloud management system, very rarely in a more direct way. So you would set this up once, and then from there on you would use the cloud management system. And so OpenNebula, for example, gives you what we're looking at here, which is the admin interface. And then when you have tenants in your cloud, when you have customers, you can give them their own set of resources, and you can give them a separate user interface, which is the customer user interface, which is a bit more restricted. It doesn't have this full visibility, but they, the customer, are able to provision virtual machines themselves. For the CLI, people who prefer CLI out there, the same, everything we can do through the web interface. In the case of OpenNebula, there is also a CLI command that can achieve the same result. So one data store list shows the same list that you see here, but in the console. So it would tell you, this is the size of it, and you can interrogate it further and further. And to show you, the level of integration we have here. Basically, every image or virtual disk in the cloud management system gets its own volume in StorPool. So if we say create a new one, and we say this is a data block on the StorPool storage, and it's a persistent data block, it's going to be empty, it's going to have a 10 gigabytes size. When I click create here, what will happen is OpenNebula will create a new volume in StorPool, which will be ID 12, and it will be a size 10, so it will appear right after this one in the list down there. So I click create, and then you get a new volume in StorPool. And the same if I take that volume and I delete it, OpenNebula just calls StorPool and deletes that. Similarly for virtual machines, so this is the list of virtual machines we have in our cluster at the moment. If we take a virtual machine and it's running on node 1 at the moment, so this is these two volumes actually are of the virtual machine running on node 1. If we say migrate this virtual machine live to another host in the cloud, and we say migrate, what happens is OpenNebula tells StorPool to attach these two volumes on the other host, live migrates the virtual machine, and then detaches the volumes from the first host. In the meantime, while during this same process, it has instructed the hypervisor to live migrate the compute component of that virtual machine from one host to the other. So it's in terms of orchestrating all these processes that happen in the cloud is the responsibility of the cloud management system. So it would instruct the storage system to do one thing, instruct networking to do a second thing, instruct the hypervisor to do the third thing, and in this way orchestrate, provide these functionalities like live migration of virtual machines. So what I'm showing here is that StorPool fits well within this, meaning that it's integrated with the cloud management system, be that OpenStack, OpenNebula, or OnApp. So when you move, for example, move a VM from one place to another, it would instruct StorPool to do the necessary steps to do that.